So our spreadsheet assignment for this week is to make a scatter plot and look for the tendency. So you're going to watch this video about positive and negative correlation. In other words, what's the relationship between two different things? Okay? And when we come to these examples, all you have to do is open up your data sheet. I'm going to make my own copy here. And I'll show you what I'd like you to do. So we have several relationships. Okay, and those are shown in these. So I'm going to look at the relationship for the Sterling Cafe between the age of the customer and the amount spent per month at the cafe. Okay. And so you're just curious, is there any relationship? So we highlight our data, and you want to insert a chart. So your job is to go in and insert a chart. And so we look at it, and in order to see the relationship best, we go down to scatter plots. We go down in here to scatter plot. Okay. And when we look at it, does it look like there's, so obviously it's not in a line, so as you get each year older you don't spend a little bit more. And we do have this very young person, so you have this outlier here at, we have a young person who is spending a lot of money, it looks like. So someone spending 60, a 32-year-old is spending the most money. And so you'd say, well, there's a very weak correlation. So we're going to put that in. This is very weak. So you could say, so we're going to type in here, no correlation, or just a very weak positive correlation. And so we can, remember, we can use that wraparound here to say, so it seems to be as you, so how would you say that? As you get older, maybe you spend a little bit more money, but it's not a very strong correlation, right? So we see some young people spending more than some older people. Let's look at the next one, which is, how about maybe as you get older you spend more per visit. Maybe you don't spend more per month, but you at least buy something that you really like. So let's highlight this. Remember, if you hit the shift and the arrow keys, you can highlight. Okay, so I've highlighted that. I'm going to insert my chart. Okay. And this one looks a little different, right? So you see how they almost line up in a line, and we're going to be studying how to get a line that corresponds to that, right? And so we're saying, okay, there's a general tendency as you get older to spend a bit more per visit. And you can even make a hypothesis about that, right? So you're getting older, you know, maybe you decide that this is one of the pleasures of life, so you're willing to spend a little more when you come. It could be you can't come as often, so you're not spending that much. So it could be that your strategy is, I'm not going to come as often, but when I do, I'm going to spend more and get something I really like. And so that would be sort of a philosophy of less quantity, higher quality. You could even say that. Okay. And so, but here we would say there's a strong positive correlation. In other words, there's a strong relationship between as you get older, as the age goes up, the amount that you spend on a particular visit goes up. Next we go to a theory that you might have, which is that, well, maybe people who have more income spend more money per month at my business. So we insert a chart, and our chart says, well, look at, so here we have somebody who makes the least salary, $3,000 a month, but they're spending the most. And you could say, well, that's an outlier, but we see that the data is quite spread. So in other words, we have some people on the low end of income not spending very much, but we also have someone here on the upper end also not spending very much. And so you'd say a weak positive or even no real correlation, especially the person who's making $3,000 spending the most. So you'd say there doesn't seem to be any correlation between income and the bill. In other words, as you make more income, you don't necessarily spend more money at the Sterling Cafe. And finally, let's look at, as your age increases, how about the number of tattoos and piercings that you have? Okay, so see if we can get this to work. Reload our page. And we say, let's make a chart of that. And so we insert our chart. Okay, so remember the chart that we're looking for is this scatter plot. And we do indeed see that in general, as people get older, they have fewer piercings and tattoos. So what would we call that? So you're going to call that a negative correlation. So there's a negative correlation. And it's a fairly strong one, strong negative. Okay, so as I get older, as I have more years, I have less tattoos and piercings. Okay, and so at least among the customers at my cafe.